How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast. Lee's already dancing. I'm sure you guys know why. And if you don't know why, then he's going to tell you in a minute. But big up Lee, big up Jordan, and big up James as usual. All right, go on, Lee. Go on, Lee. Do your dance and tell them
I'm
why.
in the money.
I'm skid
It's
as it
not
is.
funny. I'm in the money.
I'm sick
Oh,
of giving him money.
I'm skid anyway, and this guy's taking more money from the poor. From the poor.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to put my heating on for another week because of you, Lee, and my son's going to be
I got
freezing
three
cold.
kids.
But,
I got three
at
kids,
least you
yeah.
can enjoy.
I'll go down the Arsenal shop this week. Thank you very much, lads. Thank you very much.
That makes it even worse. You're taking our money and then giving it to the Arsenal.
Giving it to
Oh,
the
It's
country.
bonkers. Unbelievable.
There you
Also,
go.
was it 20 quid each in the pot? Was that it?
Yes.
So I don't really know what you're going to get for 80 quid, to be fair.
No, it will be 60 because you can't count, can you? I'm not
Oh,
putting
yeah.
20 to myself for my life. You know what I mean?
No, but we all put in 20, right? So that was
Yeah.
80. So you're taking the full 80. So yes, technically 20 of it's yours.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's a
Yeah,
pot of 80.
yeah. But what I'll do, James, is I've thought about this. I'll wait till the old January sales and then I will go bush. Bush. Thank you very much, lads.
Oh, God.
Disgrace.
Yes, Lee has won the sweepstake, but it's not about Lee. It's about Messi tonight, and I don't think Lee's gonna like it. Look at his face. that expression changed really quickly. We're gonna get into it all, but it is Messi's night, Messi's day, Messi's morning. Wherever you're tuning in from, watching this, it is all about Messi. He finally got the World Cup under his belt at his final attempt, his second World Cup final. And yeah, he's done it. Argentina 3, France 3, penalty shootout. Argentina dispatched 4 of their penalties. France missed 2. So where do we start? I'm sure we all watched it.
Oh, I mean, what an unbelievable game of football.
Yeah.
Like, we've all seen great sporting moments. But like, that wasn't just a great sporting moment. It had great moments, but it was just such a spectacle. Whether it was something that Jordan and I were critical of in the World Cup, which was maybe a lack of quality. I thought Argentina showed loads of quality in that first half, especially. I thought the football was brilliant. And then you've got the story of the comeback, and you've got Messi balling out and doing what he does, and then you've got the drama, and it was nervy, but there was brilliance as well. It had absolutely everything. And if someone were to write a perfect script, it would probably be Messi winning it and having his moment, and a penalty shootout drama at the end. But Mbappe, the new guy, to also have his say in the match. It was built up as Messi and Mbappe, and they both had their part to play. He didn't do anything for the first 80 minutes, and he probably only second to Messi as man of the match. And I just thought it was, well, no, Enzo Fernandez was amazing. Loads of players were brilliant, but it was just an absolutely breathtaking game of football. It was a breathtaking sporting occasion. I saw a great tweet. I forgot who it was. Someone said, this football stuff's great, you know. Where can I start from season 1? I'm just like, you know, that's the drama. I don't know if the drama's always quite that mad, but football does have this ability to throw out drama, because when it all comes down to it, you don't have to do that much to score. I know goals are rare, but they can come from anything. They can come from nothing. And that's probably the only way France really got back into it, bar the inspiration of Mbappe. So I was just blown away, and I'm ready to just wax lyrical about it for the next 20, 30 minutes or whatever. It was amazing.
80 minutes, Argentina looked comfortable. No shots on target for France. 5 minutes later, 2-2. I mean, like you said, if you could write a script, for me, that script had to end with Messi winning it. But if you had to write a script in the way he's going to win it, I think that was perfect. And you're right about Mbappe too. We'll touch in on Mbappe. We'll touch in on Messi, obviously, the main man of the day. But McAllister, Di Maria in that first half, a surprise inclusion in the starting 11. I myself thought he's going to be on the other side, because that was a weakness exposed by, who was it in the last round? Morocco. France's left-hand side. Instead, he starts on Argentina's left-hand side, and he still caused problems. He won the penalty. He got a goal, a nice finish, the Ozil finish. As something we become used to over the time when Ozil was here. You know, the bounce finish over the keeper, and then the second half, most of the second half, nothing from France, and then all of a sudden back in it, extra time. It seemed like Argentina ran out of legs. Messi pops up with the goal. Okay, it was a good save from Lloris initially, but Messi was there to tap it in pretty much an empty net. Goal line technology had to get involved apparently and confirm it was a goal. And then you think Argentina will see this out now. Nope, another penalty. Mbappe dispatches of it again, and it's against probably one of the best, if not the best, goalkeeper in a penalty scenario in Emi Martinez at this moment in time. And then it went to the penalty shootout. But let's talk about Messi, Jordan, Lee. Let me start with Jordan because I know what Lee's going to say. But Jordan, go on.
First of all, can I just say that I'm getting genuinely concerned about these predictions now, because even when I don't predict a team, even when I'm given a team, I still can't get one right. I mean, France had that at the end there, and oh man, fuming. I'm happy though because I wanted Messi to win it. I'm not a fan of either nation, but I wanted Messi to win it, so I was happy about that. I mean, you both said that the script was always ending with Lionel Messi. My fear before the game was that it wasn't. My fear was that the script was going to be Messi would play well, but I just had images in my head of a montage on a BBC's coverage or ITV's coverage where Messi was just dejected. I just had it in my head. This is going to end the way that I don't want it to end. This is going to end with it's another final of the World Cup, and Messi once again hasn't been able to kind of really do what the nation and I think the world. Even there were certain even French fans that I was reading online that were saying they wanted Argentina to win it because of Messi. So the script in my head actually ended badly for Messi, but I'm really happy that it ended really well. It's rare as well that you get the two star players on either team that both deliver. Yeah. It's not often you kind of get a game built up as so-and-so versus so-and-so, and both of them, normally none, do you know what I mean, live up to. You may get one, but for both of them to kind of, one gets a hat trick and the other one gets 2 goals, I think an assist and a penalty in the shootout, is nuts. I thought that this game was also an encapsulation of the whole tournament. I thought the quality of the whole game wasn't great, but there were great dramatic moments. And that for me has been the World Cup. The World Cup quality-wise, there's been better World Cups in terms of quality of play, but there's been huge, big, dramatic moments. Saudi Arabia, the first game, Japan, Morocco, the Dutch free kick. Even England had a couple of. There's been big moments, but the quality wasn't consistently high. You said Turkish for 80 minutes. Like a friend of mine was saying, and I seen a Mika Richards quote, which is nonsense. The best game of football I've ever seen. How could it be a great game of football if for 80 minutes one team's not in it? That's like a boxing fight where one boxer is punching another boxer's heads out for 10 rounds, and then for the last 2 rounds he kind of makes it a fight. That's not a good fight. It's not a good fight, is it? It's one-sided. So I don't think it was a great game, but I think what it did have was drama. I think this World Cup hasn't had many great games, but this World Cup has had drama, and it was amazing. It was amazing for France to kind of pull it back. Argentina go again. I thought they were punched out. Argentina, I thought they were punched out. I thought France would then see it, grab the momentum. But fair play. Just finally on Messi, I'm sure we'll get more to him in a second, but just briefly on Messi, I'm glad that he's won it, because I like to see the best athletes across any sport claim the biggest trophies and accolades. I like to see the best golfers, basketballers, sprinters, boxers really get what they deserve. And I think over a 20-year career, I think we can all agree that Lionel Messi, you don't always get what you deserve, but I think that a World Cup is really what he's given to the game. I think the game can give that back to him. So I was really happy from that perspective.
Before I move on to Lee, I want to ask you, greatest of all time, Jordan? Greatest of all time, James?
For me, Turkish, he was the greatest. I don't know about all times. I still think that this discussion around him and Maradona is relevant. Him versus Ronaldo, he was always ahead of Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He was for me, even if he lost, he was what he could do with a football, no one else can do with a football. So as a footballer, it's not even a debate for me. Achievements, that's a debate. But in terms of who's the better football player, it's Messi by a mile, irrespective of last night. But I think that now ends that debate, if there was a debate. The debate now for me is Maradona versus Messi. That is a legitimate debate where I can argue either way. So I think it's a toss-up. But I'll go Messi because I've seen Messi play. The bias that I've actually seen Messi play. I never got to saw Maradona play, but Maradona's probably my favourite player. But I think of all time, what Messi's achieved, I would lean more towards Messi.
Completely agree with you, James.
Yeah, I'm the same. the Ronaldo Messi thing, I just always thought Messi was the best, and I never really was like too torn about that. I was kind of always clearly just Messi. And then Maradona I never saw, but you know, when he passed away very sadly recently, when was it? Was it? It was very recent, when the last year.
Last November.
Last November, right. So, you know, when he passed away, and listening to the ways people spoke about him, and of course we've seen highlight reels and all that. Obviously, I never watched him, but you know, I can only respect people who did see him and what they have to say. So the best I've ever seen, certainly by a country mile, is Lionel Messi.
Sorry, Lee, if you're Ronaldo, you're sick tonight. I'm sorry. You are absolutely sick as a parrot tonight. Come on. Not only did your World Cup end the way it ended, but your greatest rival goes on and leads his nation to the World Cup. Oh, Ronaldo, you've had a shocker. You've had a mare.
Lee, Ronaldo or Messi?
Messi now.
Okay, because they both had their moments against Arsenal, and that's why I've leaned away from asking Lee about Argentina and Messi so far. But Lee, we've been 10 minutes in now, and you've hardly said a word. Go on, talk to me. World Cup final, Argentina
it's
do
just
it.
Dance, doesn't it? It's just dance all over the place.
Listen, the loving and everybody's having for Messi is sickening. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Arsenal fans forgetting what he'd done to us. 4 goals at the burner, 4 goals at Barcelona in the Nou Camp, cheating on the Emirates carpet, diving around. I don't forget these things, like, you know what I mean? But in saying that, I'm not a lover of Messi, like people are going, oh, let's win it for Messi and all that. A couple of things today. I didn't like the way when the penalty shootout was done, that he collapses on the floor and makes it all about him. But if Ronaldo does that, there'd be everybody be going mad about it. That's the one thing there. And do you know what? It ain't all about Messi today. It was other players that contributed today. Martinez with that save at the end there. If
Man
he
of the
doesn't
match.
save that, man, yes, it was an unbelievable save. You know what I mean? I can't remember. It was, couldn't hit any better than what he did. It's a wonderful. The last
was that the dying second in extra time?
Yeah.
Colomwani. I mean, and then Argentina have a chance at Lautaro Martinez at the.
Yes,
I fell on the floor. I fell on the floor. I was like, this is unreal.
It was unreal. But I'm with Jordan on that. For 80 minutes, I was bored. Because there was just one team in it, and France, for whatever reason, were poor. And I think that, you know, Giroud, obviously, Dembele must have been ill, because I've never seen a poorer performance from a footballer in my life. He couldn't do anything, and he actually went off. So I do think there was something wrong with him, certainly something wrong with Giroud, but totally in domination. And then Mbappe, who had done absolutely nothing himself, then exploded into this fantastic game, and it turned into a fantastic game. Well, what I will say about Messi now and the Maradona comparisons, I'm going to be really honest. I've watched Maradona. I thought there's no one ever going to get near him. No one ever going to get near him. But for me now, Messi comes into that conversation. I think when I look at it today, he's 35 years of age. To be playing at the top, the best, biggest and top game, and produce that at 35. You know, like if you'd done it at 25, you'd say, wow, what a player. But to do it at 35, you know, you've got to say. Now, you know, people going about Ronaldo. Ronaldo's 2 years older, like, you know, and was doing the business at 35. But for me, Messi today and over this tournament is up there with Maradona now. Like, and you know what, guys? I don't care what anybody says. You can't compare. You cannot compare, because it was different football. You know, like Maradona nowhere near got the protection that Messi gets. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not Messi's fault or whatever. Like, you know, he was, and it was true. We was talking about today. You know, Messi gets some rough treatment. He's had some rough treatment, but nowhere near in the way Maradona got it. Like, you know, but 2 wonderful, gifted players. I think now that, you know, he's on par with him. He's on par with him, and that for me to say that is unbelievable, because I honestly thought there wasn't ever going to see anybody better than Maradona. If I was to push for one, I would still say it was Maradona. But you know, when it was true what somebody said today, you know, Maradona in '86 led a poor Argentina. There were some good players in that Argentinian team. Don't think that there wasn't, like, you know. And there's some good players in this Argentinian team as well, like, you know. So for me, I think we're having a game of shuffle, are we? Anyway, like, you know. So
Sorry.
no, so you just always have to mess me up, don't you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're talking, I listen, like, you know, you have to start playing.
The internet went.
You know, no, you do, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you can't leave it alone, can you? You know what I mean?
Lee, I
Just
love
leave
you.
your
I love
buttons
you,
alone,
Lee.
will
I
you,
love
please?
you, Lee. I love you,
Right,
Lee.
yeah,
Sorry,
right,
I'm listening.
so-
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I think that you know, there's some good players in this Arsenal, but he carried this team like Maradona did as well, like, do you know what I mean? In crucial moments. Brilliant game. The best game of the tournament for me was the Dutch versus Argentinian game. That could have gone either way, guys. I'd say, you know. And you know, when I think someone might have been one of you guys actually said it on here, that there's these moments that you can go in and out of a competition. That's how fine lines it is. You know, Argentina could have gone out that day, but they didn't. They hung in there, and it, like, you know, it was a fantastic extra time and everything like that. But yes, I'm going to say it now, Maradona. And Messi, I can't call and all that, but the loving from we got to win it for Messi and all that, like, you know, I'm sorry, like, you know, you know, France have done no wrong to us, you know what I mean? Do you know what someone said today, bringing in politics because we let immigrants come over to England? That's why they wanted bloody France to not win today. Ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like, you know, now come on, look, I also, like, you know, Argentina, let's be honest, was singing like bad songs about us and things like that. It happens. We do it to them, blah, 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 blah. But I think today, football won, you know, with Messi winning.
I think Jordan put it right. I'm not a fan of both nations away from football, but if there's someone I wanted it for, it was Messi. And for Lee to say Messi's, you know, the only one in the conversation with Maradona, that goes a long way, because I know Lee doesn't really want to give Messi credit because of a few of the performances he had.
He's hurt the Arsenal Turkish on too many of occasions for my to be a lover of him. I'll be honest, you know what I mean? But you've got to give credit where credit's due, you know. He's a quality player. Come on.
Can you join me? Can you join me in this moment, Lee? And say it with me. Messi.
Messi.
You know what I mean? Yeah, well, but, you know, go and get a bar of soap and wash your mouths out, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Can I just say that, I mean, I'll stay clear of the politics as well, because otherwise I'll take this podcast real left in regards to France and Argentina. But
we can do it for a lot. We can do it for a lot of nations. We can even do it for the one we're sitting in right now. So that, you know, we could go all day about all of this.
Exactly. So I've got lots to say on that, but I'll keep my mouth shut on that. But just to kind of what Lee was saying earlier on about why is it always about Messi, and the team have jumped on him and what's the big deal. The reason why it was all about Messi was because this is a man that isn't just a brilliant player for his country. This is a man that is also the symbol of his country. This is a man that has had so much pressure put on him to deliver the World Cup to them. Argentina are a massive footballing nation, and for 36 years for them to not have won a World Cup, for them is a big deal. And with the legacy of Maradona, the expectation put on Messi to be the next guy was huge. Argentina, I don't know if you know much about the history between Argentina and Messi, but a lot of them actually don't like Lionel Messi. They don't see him as one of theirs. They see he's Spain's guy, he's Barcelona's guy because he left when he was young. Whereas Maradona grew up, was raised in Barcelona, in Argentina. So for him to now deliver this World Cup on his final chance, the country is kind of galvanized around him. And let's be very, very clear. I've said throughout this whole World Cup, this is not a great Argentinian side. No Messi, they're out. They were out a long time ago. They would have been out a long time ago. And I think the country and the team recognizes this isn't only a great player. This is someone that actually they recognize has the pressure on his shoulders of a nation to live up to, who we agree is the greatest of all time. And he's done that. So I think that's the reason why, for me, it is all about him. Yeah, Martinez made a fabulous save. Yeah, I thought Enzo was brilliant as well. Other players did their bit. But this is Messi's moment, and I think they recognise that. And just briefly on the Maradona versus Messi thing, the reason why it's difficult is because Messi on paper has won a lot more than Maradona. And the thing that I respect about Messi is the longevity. Maradona, Lee, you will know this, Maradona only really had 8-9 years at the top.
Yeah.
Messi's looking at nearly 2 decades, and that's to be respected. However, Maradona took Napoli. Napoli would have been the equivalent in the Premier League of Wolves, in fact, worse than Wolves, to win 2 back-to-back Premier League titles. Napoli in the late 80s were a small, rubbish club, and he dragged them to 2 back-to-back titles. Messi hasn't done anything like that. He's played for the best team in Europe for 15, 20 years. So that's why, for me, it's really, really close. And you could put an argument for either. Longevity is to be respected, but you take a small team to 2 Serie A titles at a time when Italian football was the biggest league in Europe. That is a phenomenal achievement. So it's close to me. Ronaldo for me isn't in debate. It's those two for me. So that's the reason why I think it is all about Messi, because it's not just about tonight. It's about 10 years of him carrying that nation to something and letting them down. Copa America last year, now the World Cup.
Yeah, but also, had they not won it, who the headlines have all been about?
There you go.
So I just think ultimately it was either way Messi was going to be in the headline. So it was either for winning it and delivering it or for another opportunity miss.
Yeah.
And the reality is that had they lost that penalty shootout, it would have been extremely harsh to look at Lionel Messi, because he was outstanding all game. He made that second, he dispatched his penalty. He made that second goal happen with that flick, which was just absolute class. And then he scores the third. And he's a big part of that move as well. You know, and had they lost that penalty shootout, you think Messi never deserved to be on the losing side. But, you know, it all went the right way. I think.
Did you think when the penalties were there, once you went to penalties, I did think Argentina were going to win it.
I did. I saw a very. Oh, sorry, go on, Turkish. Sorry.
When it went penalties, because of the way it happened, 2-0 up, 2-2, 3-2 up, 3-3. I actually thought Messi's going to go and miss his penalty, and all of the, like, you know how Jordan had that script in his mind where it's just going to be about Messi dejected.
Well, that's because he loses all the time.
Is that right? So go on, James. Sorry,
I have no comeback. I can't even argue with that. I can't even argue.
Once Messi put his penalty away, I thought Argentina were going to go and win it, because they had other kind of experienced players to step up, whereas I thought France had a young side that, in fairness, the players who came on, Thuram, Kolo, I thought they made a real difference. And I was thinking, what's Deschamps doing? Camavinga came on a left back. He's not a left back, you know, and fair play to him. Fofana, that was his first, you know, major tournament for France. And they all stepped, you know, Fofana's not a young player, but they all actually stepped up and really showed at least some heart. I don't think there's any real quality from France, but except for Mbappe, and I will talk about him in a sec. I thought what Lee was saying about why the Messi loving. I know football's slightly different because it's a team sport, but I can only think of it like when Federer was playing I think it was the 2018 Wimbledon final. I think it was 2017 or 2018. I can't remember which one it was. And he was playing for his 8th Wimbledon. Right? He's won it 7 times. So why do we want him to win the 8th so much? It's just because of how he makes you feel and how he plays the sport, and, you know, just the moments he's giving you. You want him to have that continued success. You want him to be the greatest of all time in terms of the most slams, the most Wimbledons, all that stuff. Tiger Woods winning the Masters very recently, again, amazing moment to see him kind of make the comeback and win. And I think these players and these sportsmen who have done things at another level, you kind of want to believe they got one more in them. Now with Messi, it wasn't a case of one more, but it was a case of completing the set, and, you know, with the biggest of them all, and he did it. And you're right, it wasn't a great Argentina side, but they very cleverly just put a very robust technical midfield around him. Messi could just buzz wherever he wants, and Alvarez led the line superbly, and fair play, they got over the line. I just think Messi's so enchanting that it just made everyone just root for him, and I kind of like that. I like that football even has a little bit of that in it.
And also as well, I mean, Lee may agree with this point, but there's actually been a lot of games during this World Cup where Lionel Messi has been, I think, overpraised. He's done 1 or 2 amazing things in a game, but not much else. But in this final, I thought throughout he was quality. I thought from minute 1 to the shootout, I thought he was present and he did things. Whereas in other games, he's done a couple of like amazing things, or he's got an assist or he's got a goal. But for big chunks of those matches, he's not done much else. So I think this one actually he stepped up throughout. And just finally as well, you mentioned penalties, both of you there. There's something that Harry Kane could learn about pressure and penalties as well, because Harry Kane's got obviously a very good penalty record. But all the people that were talking about Harry Kane should have taken the second penalty, I thought that was nonsense. Just because he's their taker, he's very good, he should have taken it, especially as he scored the first. But Mbappe is proof that when the pressure's on, okay, they lost, but Mbappe can hold his head high. He took 3 penalties.
Yeah,
we're making up 2 or 3, including the shootout.
No, 2 in the 120.
Right, and one in the shootout. Scored all 3 of them. So I'm sorry, and I hate this. You know me, guys. All these kind of cliche phrases that I hate. One of them I also hate is penalty shootouts are a lottery. No, they're not a lottery. They're not a lottery. The best players with technique and mentality more often not score. They don't always score, but they don't score because their technique was wrong or mentality was missing at that particular point. But I hate this penalties are a lottery nonsense that you hear on TalkSport and on Sky Sports and on BBC Sport. It's not a lottery. And Mbappe showed, I think Mbappe missed a key penalty at the Euros. Was it last summer? Or
on the shootout. I think it was in a shootout. Or yes, he did.
He did.
Switzerland, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But in this one, he scored 3 in a World Cup final with a shootout. He nailed all 3. So that, for me, this new phrase, mentality monster, comes up. That is a young player. He's still relatively young, but on the biggest stage with the biggest pressure on his shoulders, nailed all 3 penalties. Harry Kane, take note.
I'll tell you what, and the pressure on that last one, 2 minutes from the end, if he misses it, Argentina win it. It was never in doubt. As Jordan says, the confidence of him is unbelievable. He's gone up in my expectations. I've got to say this about Messi as well. This is one thing I will say. I think in the semi-final he stepped up. I know what Jordan's saying, and he's right. He wasn't. There was flashes but in the semi-final and the final, I thought he was superb, Messi. I think he really did, and I think that's where he turned up. But Mbappe, well, I thought he was poor today until when it mattered. That second goal, by the way, was, I know people are sort of saying Martinez should have saved it. Like, it was the technique for that. You know what I mean? In a World Cup final, unbelievable. Like, you know what I mean? Just unbelievable. Like, so, what's a player he is? He's got pace, power, he's got everything, and he's going to get better as well. There's no 2 ways about that. Like, but I just think for France, on them, I think the injuries took their toll. To get all the injuries that they've had and still get into the final and lose it on penalties, you've got to think, wow, what a squad of an in-depth players. And their best centre half in France didn't even play. You know what I mean? So it just shows you, like, what's a squad they've got, really, like,
Yeah, I think injuries just play a key part, because when you look at some of the names they had missing,
unreal.
Game changers, game controllers, so.
Can I ask, guys, just quickly, on the penalties that were given, Di Maria, the Dembele, I don't think was a pen personally. But then I thought that even itself out. I didn't think the Montiel handball when it hit his elbow, I didn't think that was a penalty either. So I thought, in fairness to the ref, I thought he had a really good game and was really consistent in that those softer ones. He had a really good performance. He came on was tarnished at the end. I didn't think that was a pen. What did you guys think?
I could understand you. We'd probably know.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I did break up. Oh, sorry. Can you?
In terms of the first pen, listen.
Fluffy pillars.
In terms of the first pen, I've seen a penalty given against Arsenal's David Luiz when he was just trying to run back, and the Wolves player's foot nicks David Luiz's knee. So, in all honesty, I look at that and I say Dembele got, beaten. He got chopped inside, and he got a bit too close to Di Maria. So I think it was a pen, judging by modern day standards. But then you see when Lee was talking about Maradona and Messi and talking about football back then, and how hard it is to quantify or compare a player from back then who was getting kicked to shreds to a player now. That's what football is now. Even with the handball, I've seen, for example, Man United get a penalty against PSG in the Champions League when a player, literally just goes up to block the ball, hits his arm, and it's a penalty, and Man United score it, and that helps them go through. So, in all honesty, I think all of the penalties were probably penalties. I think Otamendi was the one that I looked at as most contentious, but even that, he got beaten, he had an arm on the shoulder. He was a bit too close, and when you're close, you leave a referee, to make a decision.
But Turkish, I sorry to cut you. I always look at intent with these things, and with the Otamendi one, I felt he clearly had a hand on the shoulder, and then he tried to get another hand on the chest. So that for me was like, what are you doing, Otamendi? But with the other two, with Dembele, I thought Di Maria was going down, and then his left foot clips Dembele as he's going. I think, well, that what's Dembele meant to do? And then with the Montiel one. No, it's not for me. And then the Montiel one, again, I do get that he's made his body quite big, but when you're jumping and diving and you're spinning to try and block it with your back and it catches the back of your elbow, I think that's really harsh. I think you can look at that and go, I don't like, he clearly didn't intentionally try and handball it, but I mean, I know what you mean. Like, I've seen worse versions of those given.
It's a penalty, and what we've got to stop doing is looking at an incident and then giving our opinion of what we think should be given. The rules say, whether you like them or not, is a different discussion. It's a penalty. It's a penalty, and if that's Arsenal playing, yeah, it's a penalty straight away. And the referee called it straight away. It's a penalty. Now, whether we think that should be a penalty or not, we can discuss that. Debate. But people keep giving their. I see it on TV and radio as well. People keep giving their analysis on a penalty based on what they think should be or shouldn't be a penalty. I'm sorry, I don't give a damn what you think should be a penalty. As an analysis, as a pundit, look at the rules. Is it a penalty in accordance to the rules? We can separately say, if I made the rules, that wouldn't be a penalty. Cool, no problem. But the rules say it is a penalty, so call it. And I think there's too much emotions and opinions that are mixed in with, no, just give me the facts. Is what he did, according to the rules, a penalty? And according to the rules, it's a penalty. The first
they change the rules a lot, though.
They do.
That's the one thing. They change them so much.
They do.
I've lost track of what. So is it about body shape? Is it now they're saying that from this point of the arm, that's not handball because it's the sleeve. So it's fine. So that's something they brought in recently. And it's
you're totally right. And even sometimes the referees don't give pens when the rules say it should have been a pen. Yeah. So for me, I don't get emotional about penalties anymore because I don't know what a penalty is anymore.
Yeah.
But according to what I believe the rule books say, the second one is a penalty. And the first one for me, it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Jordan,
excuse me.
You know what we never caught up on was whether you guys thought the Messi penalty when Szczesny caught him in the face with the fist. So Turkish and I were one of like 0.2% of the football population that believed that it actually, well, I don't know if you changed your mind, Turkish, but I believed it was because I felt Szczesny came out, didn't get the ball, and his hand caught him in the face. And I'm surprised that a fist in the face causes so much more uproar than a clearly unintentional handball. And this is what I was saying on that live show with you, Turkish, is it really surprises me what people get so angry about when it comes to decisions compared to other things.
Remind me, James, did he make contact with him in the face, or was the fist in the face area?
No, he caught him in the face.
It was a looping ball over. He went to swing his arm. He missed. Messi headed the ball, and then Szczesny's hand clattered into Messi's face. It wasn't a big foul. But listen, 20 years ago, the three incidents in this game and that Szczesny one, never a penalty. And like Jordan said, if I make the rules, none of them would be penalties.
Yeah,
judging by modern day, they're all penalties in my opinion.
And that's that. You know, you're dead right, Turkish. Dead right, Jordan. The actual rules are what's at fault, in my opinion. Like, you know, I mean, that's what we're looking at here. Like, you know, I look at those penalties, and I can't, you know, there's no way the contact, the way he goes down, there's no way that contact makes him do that. But you know, this is the thing now. Like, you know, I'm going to go and say, look, in the Premier League, we've sort of changed it a little bit to our own, sort of saying, like, if there's not still a little bit of contact, they're not going to give it. You know, so I don't really know what is a penalty or not now, like, you know. But when that one hit his hand today, I sort of said, that straight away the ref gives a penalty. I looked at it, I couldn't argue with it, like, you know.
But let's
So-
be consistent. We
Yeah.
got the Jesus one with Thiago in that Liverpool game.
Yeah.
And I was
Mhm,
saying that,
mhm.
listen, you know, he put a leg out and he caught his foot and not the ball. I know, Jordan, I remember, in fairness,
Yeah,
you were
it's the same
consistent on
thing.
that.
It's the same
But I
thing.
was at the time arguing that, well, listen, even if you've caught him a bit, it's a pen. So there's me being consistent. I think obviously depending on what you want for your team, that's always going to play a little part. But it's difficult. I think we almost, like Jordan said, we need to just come to peace with the fact that there's just always going to be decisions that some go for you, some don't, and just don't get that angry unless it's the ones that are clearly
Stop wanging on
Stop
about
banging
it.
on
Just
about
accept
it. But I'll
that.
tell you something
Get
now.
on with it.
This is true, right? And I mean this sincerely. When I was playing football, right, if that incident happened with the handball, no one would have appealed for it. No one would have even thought it was handball. They've just got on with the game. That's how the game's changed now. It's changed that much. No one would have actually said, "No, that's not intentional." And no one would. Someone might have gone handball, like someone would have said, "Get on with it." And that was it. You know what I mean? It was never handball 20 years ago. But like, you know, so many things have changed in football. And I think that this is why you can't compare Maradona to Messi now, because there's just been too many changes in football. Like, you know, as I say, like if for those rules now, we've got 3 goals today because of rules which we wouldn't have got 20, 30 years ago.
I want to slowly but surely bring this conversation to an end, because as much as we can talk about that final for a long time, considering how well, some may argue it wasn't great, some will say it was great, but what we can all agree on is that it had some great dramatic moments in it that made it what it was. Jordan, you're about to interrupt. Go ahead.
Just quickly.
Nah,
do we think Messi aside, do we think the right country won the World Cup?
Yeah, I think so. I think France,
Yeah.
if I'll be honest, France weren't good against Morocco and got away with it. We should have
Or
beaten
England.
them. Yeah. So I think that probably the best teams.
Argentina got better as they went
went
through
on.
the tournament.
Yeah.
And they did really well against Croatia in that semi-final, looked pretty comfortable. And then for 80 minutes of that final, we're in total control. So I think, I think they've.
And the Holland game, I thought that they played really well in that game as well.
Yeah.
One loss in about 43 games now, and that was that Saudi Arabia one. So I think so. I mean, not to toot my own trumpet, but I did predict Argentina to win the World Cup. I predicted Messi to get
Turkish.
golden ball.
Congratulations.
I did as well.
Better than Uruguay.
And Mbappe top scorer. I predicted it all right, but Lee won the sweepstake. What can we do? What was you going to say,
Pay your
Jordan?
money. That's what you got to do. There's nothing wrong with that.
I did predict Argentina to win it as well. I changed my mind at the last minute. And
I went for Uruguay. That is one of my favorite.
Argentina celebrated. You know that, didn't you? They all went on. They all had a day off.
Can we just appreciate that sentence? I had Messi in Argentina to win it, but at the last minute I went Uruguay. Fair enough.
And Argentina celebrated.
Lee's a bastard,
out in the groups that Argentina win it. The Jordan curse is real. It's worse than the Drake curse.
Drake's curse. Ended today.
Really bad.
Following Arsenal in May 2006, the beginning of 2006, on May the 1st, he started following Arsenal.
Oh wait, Lee, are you telling me it wasn't? Are you telling me it wasn't Kroenke out all this time and it should have been Jordan at?
No. I'm hoping to see a cockerel in the back of his paws or something like that. You know, there's hope for a steal. You know what I mean? Yeah, but officially, he got his Junior Gunners a badge on the 1st of May 2006.
He was 22 years old at the time with a Junior Gunners badge. So mad. No, I'm joking. I don't know how old Jordan is. But he wasn't that young when it was then. That's for sure. All right, cool.
Well, do you know he was supposed to be like the old ball, match day mascot once, like, I mean,
all right. Let's move on.
It snowed and it got called off.
Is that a true story? No, because if that is, that's...
Stoke at home it was, I say.
So Arsenal 0, Juventus 2. Great game. Brilliant game.
Wait. Jordan, are you telling me you watched it?
Of course I watched. I'm a professional. I watch all the Arsenal games. Any Arsenal game that's going on, I'm watching it. We come to do a podcast to discuss. It's gone. I'm here.
Right,
my
there's two
job to
people
watch
on here.
us.
There's two people on here that didn't watch it. Dare them. Like, I mean, like, see if they can blag their way through it. Let's see if they can. And soon in the comments who they think it was.
Every week, one of us shouldn't watch it, and then we should just let the comments try and guess who it was.
Who done it?
I'm gonna be honest here. There's 3 people here who didn't watch the Arsenal game.
Did you wear a hat?
There's 3 that didn't watch the Arsenal game.
I didn't watch it.
So you lied to us before the stream started. Oh my God!
I tell you, right.
Oh
I tell you, he's walked off in disgrace, and rightly so.
I'm glad he walked off because us 3 should have walked off first. Mate, he did.
They saved us.
Unreal.
Just a heads up to the viewers. Before we went live, I asked Jordan, "Did you watch this one?" And he said, "Yes."
Yeah, of course.
Turkish. I couldn't not watch 2 games in a row. And then you guys said you didn't watch it. I was like, oh shit.
So I'm the only one who has anything to contribute to this section of the podcast.
No,
I saw the low lights.
I watched the highlights. I watched the 10-minute little clip that you get, like, you know what I mean? Because I thought I should do.
Over to you, James.
It's all yours. I didn't watch it either. I took my son Winter Wonderland. So yeah, and then I saw the result. I didn't even bother watching the highlights. What's there to watch? I saw one clip of Eddie Nketiah hitting the post, and I thought, yeah,
let me have a turn it off when it's Turkish.
Yeah, enough is enough. Go on.
Let me say, while Juve did have a real second string team out, I mean, a lot of players I didn't recognise there, and Arsenal really should have beaten them. You'll never see a luckier 2-0 win in your. I mean, honestly, it was incredible, and it was 45 minutes of Arsenal playing. Xhaka own goal, deflection from a corner. From a cross. Second half, Arsenal play, deflection from a cross off Rob Holding. It's maybe going to a player, but then Rob Holding sticks in the back of the net by accident. So we certainly didn't deserve to lose. Did we deserve to win? That's up for debate because we didn't create a lot of great chances. I mean, that Eddie one, he should have done better for sure. And a lot of people won't like me saying this, but I don't think it's as easy a chance as it looks. I know that sounds ridiculous because you're thinking you've got, all that goal to aim for, but you're like, oh, there we go. No, but it's kind of. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really watch it back. So what I remember,
turn him off. You
didn't even watch the game, you miserable bastard. What are you doing? You didn't even watch it. Watch it, and I'll listen to your opinions. So,
for our audio listeners, there, Lee clocked off and was being very rude to James there. Sorry,
unbelievably rude,
as you were.
Doesn't do his
James,
homework.
he should have buried that. Come on,
no, come on. You can't say that's not an easy chance for a professional footballer who's a goal scorer. Don't make excuses for it. He's missed a sitter. Let's be honest. I'm sorry. I'm not having that.
I'm gonna watch it back now while you guys give me some sort of analysis on the game.
Send it to Jordan as well, please.
Send it to no. Listen, I'm backing Eddie to be successful. I really am. But you cannot miss those sort of. If he misses that against West Ham and we lose, James, everybody's going to go mad. He's got to take that chance, and I believe that he will get his chance. People were even making excuses saying, "Oh, Jesus has missed chances like that." Yes, but Jesus does other things in the game. How can I say it? Look, with Eddie, he is a goal scorer. That is his job, and he's got to take those chances. I'm sorry, if he gets a chance. He's got to take it because he's not got what Jesus has got.
Did you see the goal that was disallowed that he scored?
No.
I mean, that was class. I mean, it was offside.
Yeah, but it was offside.
Yeah, that's not good. But it was superb. It was on his.
Not good.
It's not great. But he was on
James,
his right foot, cut inside,
guys,
nailed it offside.
Guys, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But on the Eddie Nketiah issue generally. Somebody in the comments in the last show put something on the lines of, we need to kind of support him and back him because there's a chance, albeit a slim chance. Go on, James, go on.
I've just watched it back. It's a bad miss. I thought the angle was a bit worse.
Jordan, I'm putting it in the group right now, Jordan. Have a quick look, yeah?
I'm on the phone, so I can't even watch it.
Oh, forget it, mate. Where's
But I
Shirai, man?
watch it. Where's Shirai? Right in. But my point just to wrap was going to be that someone on the comments said that, look, we need to kind of stop being harsh. But maybe I was a bit harsh in the last pods about Nketiah. I don't think it's of the levels, but the fact is, there's a slim chance, albeit slim, there's a slim chance he could be leading the line for us for the next 3 or 4 months. So as supporters, what you think is quite high?
Oh, well, who else is going to lead the line?
Well, I'm saying on the premise that we don't sign a striker.
Yeah, but the chances we sign a striker are probably more slim than Eddie starting the next 3 months up front.
Well, if you're right and that is the case, we have to back him. We have to try and believe in him. We have to give him confidence. I don't think he's the answer, but I think in a very short window last season, he did show that he can do a thing. Now, it's still well and good. I've said before, doing it for 3 or 4 games, doing it for 3 or 4 months is a much bigger pressure. And the January we've got, we have to play well. We have to get points. There's a slim chance we could end January 4th. If January goes bad for us, we could end January 4th. So we have to really back our players and back Eddie Nketiah and believe that in these games, he's the guy. Until he shows us otherwise, I'm going to back him. I'm going to back him because he's all we've got. He's all we've got.
I did watch it back. I thought it was from a slightly worse angle. It's a bad miss. I don't know why he didn't take on his right foot, actually. Because he took on his left. I thought, in fairness, he's trying to get it away from the keeper, and anyway. But he actually played quite well for most of the game, guys. He really did. His link-up play was good. His touch, his hold-up, he was involved. He was running at players. People fixate on that chance.
Lacazette.
No, but hold on. Jesus has been contributing to all phases of play and not putting it in the back of the net, and we're all raving about his performances.
But Nketiah's not. That's the point. Nketiah's not doing the off-the-ball work that Jesus does, and he's not scoring.
Okay, listen, Juve didn't have a good team out, but I'd argue in that and the other 2 friendlies, he absolutely was doing the off-the-ball work in terms of his hold-up and his touch and all that. So, it's not going to do it to the level of Jesus, but he's contributing far more than Lacazette ever did, even though he was known as the hold-up guy and the link-up and all that. So, I feel a little for Eddie. I got that one wrong. He should have scored that one. But generally, I thought he played quite well. But we lacked cutting edge throughout. I mean, we lacked that little bit of magic, and it wasn't just Jesus missing, it was Martinelli and Saka. Now, Nelson went off injured. He started quite brightly, but he went off injured. Marquinhos, I don't think did a lot, if I'm honest, when he came on. Vieira, I think did okay, but I think he needs runners around him, and I think he's ultimately a creator more than a runner himself. I thought Kozia Dubry and Nwaneri came on and were really bright, and was great seeing that there's more hair lenders to get really excited about. But generally, we lack cutting edge. Now, am I going to panic about it? No, because we really conceded 2 goals that they didn't deserve. I mean, guys, when I talk about dominating a game in terms of territory and possession, you'll never see them all one-sided game. Sure, it's about scoring the goals, but, we did dominate on that front. We did look sharp in that front. The press was brilliant. That Eddie chance he missed comes from pressing really well. But we did play that game without Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Smith Rowe, and what's likely to be a new signing. I know, Jordan, you got your reservations, but I think we are getting a winger in. So I think you can look at the rest of the season or from January or mid-February onwards, there are going to be 5 options to play, over who we had in that game there. So largely, I'm not worried about it. I thought the performance was good. Generally, we looked sharp, but we were lacking that cutting edge. And
does it? And because it has me, I just now, by watching, well, not by watching, but knowing the result and seeing the little bits that I have done, I'm now going to go into the game against West Ham nervous, because that's the sort of games that when big teams lose, it is by dominating the game and not looking like they're going to score and things like that. And that's my worry now. Yes, we've got Martinelli to come back. Yes, we've got Saka to come back. But also, what has amazed me is, brush it aside like that's it, it's a friendly. But we've also been saying, it's been important to be winning mentality in friendlies, winning that's what's got us to where we have at the beginning of the season to now. You can't brush it aside and just say, but when it suits. That is a poor result against, a second string Juventus side. By the way, their first team is poor. By the way, you know, I never expected us to lose that game, James. I'll be honest. I was shocked when I see it.
If we played badly in the 3 games and we lost 2 and drew 1, I'd agree with you. But we won 2 out of the 3, and we played brilliantly in all 3. So that's why that's why I think you can. It's not about brushing it off. It's about just recognizing that there's lots and lots of positives still. That's all.
Okay, fine.
You know, but I agree with you. You know, maybe the momentum's been hit a little bit, but in the 3 times we haven't won this season. Brighton, we go on and win at Stamford Bridge at Wolves. Or was Brighton after Stamford Bridge? I can't remember. But the point is we responded brilliantly after the Brighton defeat at home, as we did PSV. And there's quite a strong team out, you know, in Eindhoven for that game. You were there, Lee, and they went and bounced back brilliantly in the league. And we lost to United. And we had a good, 9-10 days break, maybe even longer between Premier League games. 1-3-0 at Brentford. So I just don't think it's a time to panic. Sure, there can be a little bit of an inquest. Okay, so what went wrong? But I just think when you watch the 90 minutes, there was so much to just enjoy about Arsenal's performance. Even though we weren't creating a load of chances, we definitely looked miles ahead in terms of our sharpness and what we were doing with the ball. But where Martinelli, Jesus and Saka, they just do that extra drop of the shoulder, or they just take that extra player out, those little margins, that was lacking. And I think that is why we want a Mudryk, you know, because they make the difference.
All right. I want to 50 minutes in. I just want to let me ask James again, and maybe Lee and Jordan will have something to say about it. But you mentioned Emil Smith-Rowe coming back, and Emil Smith-Rowe is deployed heavily on the left-hand side by Arteta. We see him as a backup to Martinelli. You just mentioned Vieira and said, you know, you think Vieira needs runners around him, more creative, probably more central type of player than wide. I like Mudryk and I want Mudryk, but should we be going for another winger that plays predominantly off the left, or is the right side more of a problem or problematic moving forward? Considering
it's a great question. Yeah, and listen, that's a fair point. I've kind of fallen into this trap of just seeing forward players as forward players. You know, we've seen Klopp, you know, chuck Luis Diaz on the right if he has to sometimes. So ultimately, if you're that good, you can do it. Martinelli actually had a stint on the right wing last season when Saka had a couple of games out, started at Old Trafford, did really well, scored against Newcastle from the right wing. So I think he can add something there. But yeah, largely I agree with you. But I kind of, again, I fall into this trap of, well, if you're good enough and we're fluid enough, then you should all be able to play across the front three and alternate all game anyway. So yeah, ideally you want another Saka partner, like you got Marte Smith-Rowe, you got a Saka and someone else, but just anyone who can be a killer in that front line, who's dynamic, I'll absolutely take right now.
Cool. Comments, Jordan and Lee, before I move on.
Comments? I'm with James on that. I think Saka could go over. Martinelli could go over to the right hand side and do a job there if you bring somebody in there. And you know what? Smith-Rowe can play out on the right as well. Like, you know, I don't think you don't have to be like somebody's one predominantly cutting inside all the time. And also with this, with Eddie playing now, I think that it's more important that we whip in crosses for his like a goal scoring sort of play where, you know, like Jesus would be going outside the box a little bit. So you need that one to cut it across, like, you know. So I don't think it'd be too bad if it is a left side player, but I do feel we're a little bit more. We've got Saka and no one else really backing that right hand side up, like, you know. And I think maybe, you know, Reece was doing it a little bit like, but now I don't know what that injury is, James. What was it? Do you know what
it looked was? Like a hamstring. It was a proper running and then sort of jumping and holding his back
right.
Of his
so
leg.
that's 4 or 5 weeks. That's him out till February then.
I didn't add, sorry, and it's just a quick line. Kieran Tierney was sublime. I mean, he has absolutely had the kind of mid-season friendlies that he'd have wanted, and he's looking very comfortable.
And he should start against West Ham now, by the way. All this Zinchenko, like, he's going to be fit. Yeah, fit for the bench because Tierney deserves to be starting that game.
Moving on. Top comments, or Jordan, you have something to say?
No. Let's go.
Let's go. Comments of the day. We've all got one each. Where should we start? Jordan, let's start with you. Because I don't know if you've got your black book again or if it's just one of the top.
I've not got. I've got the book. I'm at my lady's house, so my book's at home. But you know what? Come to me last because I've got to go to another page to find the comments because I'm on my phone.
Volume 3, Lee. He's on volume 3. That's it. He's got to go to another page.
Okay, hang on. Can you hear me, guys? Still?
He's had to turn his screen off now, like, you know what I mean?
Hang on.
So either that or his girlfriend's just walked in, like one of the two.
Shut up. I love this one. I swear the chemistry on this show has just gone up and up. These guys might not be the first you'd think to throw together, but props to whoever made the call. It's coming into its own. It's funny, passionate, sometimes controversial, but always interesting. I thought that was a really nice.
I did look at that one.
Nice message. I've got another one. Another quick one. Love you guys. Jordan reminds me of my wife.
I knew it.
Barely watches football, but she's never short of opinions. She's so and so, and there was one final one that was a bit of a piss take as well. Sorry, last one. Jordan watches Arsenal like I watch my weight. Hardly ever. Absolute liberty taker. Liberty taker.
I didn't even see that one.
That's class.
Go on, Lee.
I've gone for Sweet Munchkin. Order of good looks of the panel. Number 1, Lee Judges. Joint second, James, Turkish and Jordan. I love that. That'll do me. Can't tell like you're in second, James.
That's bullshit.
Complete and utter bullshit, mate.
That's a disgrace. Right, try again.
Yeah.
Scott Ram says, great show again today, lad. All of you. Turkish, James, Lee, and Mustafi. Enjoyed that one. And there was a nice one. DJ Safo says, love this show. Keeps on getting better and has me laughing like I'm there with you guys. Keep it up, lads. And it's that line, laughing like that he's there with us. I think that's kind of I love that. That's what we want to. I'm using an Arteta word here. Transmit. We want that sense of like you're there with us. So I'm glad that's kind of how you're enjoying the show.
So I had the one that Jordan said second, I think, from Madge. Love you guys. Jordan reminds me of my wife. Barely watches football, but she is never short of opinions. But since Jordan's got that one in, I'm gonna go for one that, you know, on a personal level. Fade. I hope I pronounced that right. He said, watching from Sierra Leone. Big up, guys. AFTV is the best. The reason I say personal level is because my son's half Sierra Leonean. So big up everyone out there watching in Sierra Leone. Not only Sierra Leone, obviously, but like I said, my son's half Sierra Leonean. So big up you, my guy. Hope you're well. Hope family's all good.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, we move. All the comments of the day done. Make sure you're leaving comments for this one too. Make sure they're all respectful as they tend to be these days. At the start, it was a bit iffy, but we've moved on from that. We've got a good community here, so keep them coming. Jordan, Lee, James, any last minute thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm going to Italy. So
Jordan's getting ready for this later on.
He's getting ready. Jordan, you couldn't wait.
I forgot. It's gone midnight here, guys. And Jordan's putting on his lip gloss.
Oh, you guys.
Didn't even wait a couple minutes for me to wrap up.
Only you knew.
Jordan, we won't hold you anymore. We won't hold you anymore.
I gotta go. Guys, I gotta go.
He's got to go. Jordan.
Oh, that's amazing. Just starts. Yes. Cheers, guys.
Just start stripping on that. That's it. That's the day Fourever Arsenal need to change. I can't lie. But yeah, big up Jordan, big up Lee, big up James.
Is it? I'll tell you that now.
I'm out.
He's gone again. That's it.
Oh my word.
Make sure you don't leave the audio in, Jordan. We don't want to hear anything we shouldn't be hearing, mate. I know the video's off, but there's still audio too. But we will keep it moving. Lee, James, and Jordan, if you can hear me, love as always. Love for the love people watching. Hit the like button before you leave. Another Fourever Arsenal. Hope you guys have enjoyed. We'll be back. We're recording again on Friday. So we'll be back again. I say early Saturday will be the next release. I think that is Christmas Eve, if I'm not mistaken. So look out for the next Fourever Arsenal podcast, Christmas Eve. And yeah, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you watch all the content. Premier League coming thick and fast. So we're going to be previewing and reviewing the games as usual, people. As you know, we do. We are out. Love for the love. Peace to all.